Officer. Been working on this project. We've been working on this project for about 5 years in 2018, so we're excited to share what we have done so far. Before we start with the actual project, so advance the slide, please. Mariana, you have control, right? So I want to introduce some team members. I think it's important to see who's in the room. I'm Angel Rivera, Superintendent of Schools for Mesquite ISD, and Dr. Fields is Deputy Superintendent. The people actually doing the work, they're on the right side column, as you can see them there. We'll start with people immediately to the right. Carrie Jackson is the Chief Technology Officer. Dr. Carrie Morris, Executive Director for Innovation. Ty Pruniger, Coordinator of Innovation. And then on the other side is the software folks. These are our partners that have helped us build this platform. Alana Villabus, which is the software lead. Ryan Dale, the product manager, and then Mariana, which is our AYO program manager. And so we've been working together, as I said, for the last 5 years. So this is a little bit of what we're going to talk about here today. So I want to be clear. We're going to talk about welcome to AYO, because AYO, which means great joy in African, in one of the African languages, and we describe it as the future of education. And we're going to talk a little bit about exploring the future of AYO, the success and impact that we've had in our classrooms. Then we'll open it up to some questions, and then open it up for you guys to see how you can join us on this journey. Because Mesquite ISD has been on this journey alone as an independent school district, but we're looking for partners, and I want to be very clear, thought partners at first, that can help us iterate the work and cover our blind spots, because we've been so close to the work that sometimes we don't see our own gaps. So we hope that you can partner with us and help us move this work forward, what is beneficial not only for us, but as many kids as possible. So let's start. The future of education. So we all know, those of us that have been in education for a while now know that the future of education is now. Automation waves, advancements in technology, AI augmentation, organizational changes occurring at a lot faster rate. It does not exempt education, right? Everything is going that much faster. And so we, as an educational organization, must remain agile and flexible to pivot and react to those changes faster. However, we know legislation always lags behind. So those of you on the call are hopefully innovative minds that can think how to innovate inside the box. When we think about the groups that we're dealing with here today, we have a few groups that we want to address in this introduction. First group, and probably the most important group, right? Students. The students have changed in the needs in which they require to have addressed today. We want our students to be productive citizens. They have to cultivate agency. They have to own their learning in order to use that knowledge and progress forward. Long gone are the days where knowledge alone will get you through. Now, your phone probably has more knowledge than the teacher can actually provide to the students. So leveraging innovation is important to do so. Flexibility, choices, value their voices. How do we give our students voices? That's going to be addressed here as well. And then personalized pathways. What's important to me, my passions, what I'm passionate about, is completely different than probably every single member logged in today in this webinar. And so how do you personalize education to speak to you, to connect you, to engage you? Because if you're not engaged in the educational process, you're disengaged and you're not going to advance. The next group that I want to talk about, because it's also important, is the educators. Now, when we talk about AI, when we talk about all the advances in technology, we always fear that our educators are fearful about their job. I want to emphasize that it's never been more important for educators to get on this vein. Why? Because they have to understand how to leverage technology to do their job a lot better. And so deep student insights. How do you get to understand your students? If you're a secondary teacher or you taught secondary, you probably had about 100 to 150 students assigned to you per semester. I'm not going to ask you to weigh in, but I'm pretty sure that you did not get to know all 125 students, what made them tick, their passion, their aptitude, their potential, and all those things. AI can help us do this. Smart lesson planning. How do you differentiate? We've been differentiating for years, or attempting to, in education. But we have the tools that can help us do that. The other one, social and emotional tools. A lot of us are innate to doing that, others of us are not. So how do we get an inside look at this social emotional state of the kids? And then connecting enhanced student parent connections. Ever since COVID, we have lost that link. And so we want to reestablish that to ensure that our parents are part of the process. And speaking about parents, that's our next group. And so what our parents require? Well, when it comes to AI, they need transparency and insight, right? Because they need to understand that everything that they share, the data is safe. Stronger child-parent bonds in order for them to understand their child, and you're going to see that here in this platform. Personalized updates, and then seamless communication. How do we improve communication? And I will dare to say that we can never have enough communication between our schools and our parents. So, with that said, we're going to go into, which is the next slide, our solution item. So I'm going to pass it on to Ryan Dill from SoftServe, who's going to cover this section.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Dr. Rivera. Like you pointed out a moment ago, we're all well aware of the economic realities of today and how that impacts the three different groups that he highlighted. I want to introduce you all to our solution that is AYO and start to kind of talk through these issues and how we're addressing them. So first of all, AYO is a platform that leverages the power of AI. So all the economic realities we talked about that have influenced the certain economic realities that are here now with AI and with technology, we want to make sure we leverage that same technology for our benefits. So AYO is aiming to enable the next generation of education. This is focused on helping those groups that Dr. Rivera spoke to and addressing the issues that were laid out. And we're going to do this by providing insights that are tailored to each student, while also empowering everyone around that student to better support them. So like Dr. Rivera mentioned, not just empowering the students to help themselves, but also their parents and the educators around them to support them in their growth and potential, and to have tools to make their jobs easier while also making them more effective. Let's take a look at a little bit more around the mission for AYO. So first, we want to empower educators. We want to make sure that we equip educators with all the insights, the analytics, the data, and most importantly, the tools that they need to tailor education. This means that everything that we want to give them is not only to enrich their understanding, but also to make their day-to-day lives easier. This, of course, we know is important in the current state of education with concerns around retention of educators. We want to do things to not only help them do things more deeply, but also be mindful of their time. Next, we also want to engage each student. And with AYO, this is something that we can especially do, which is to champion the quiet achievers. So we want to ensure that every student is seen, heard, and supported uniquely. And this is something that is only possible through the powerful technology that we offer. Next, we want to help students understand and find their potential. And we do this by paving various pathways for students dynamically to help them discover their potential. We'll look at some of those ways today, but this ranges all the way from figuring out exactly what you're interested in and what you care about the most, but also bringing that into the classroom, bringing that into your overall school experience, and connecting families to better understand that so that they can support the students as well. And that brings us to our last point here, which is our goal to cultivate community. I think the key thing to take away from what Dr. Rivera shared a second ago is that solving or enhancing education is not simply just making a better student experience, it's improving the experience of the community surrounding that student. So the student themselves need to be engaged, but also families need to be engaged, educators need to be engaged, and districts need to be enlightened with the insights and the tools they need to make sure that they can enhance the learning experience of each and every student. So we're going to take a closer look at AYO, and we're excited to share this with you all. So next, we want to welcome you all to AYO. Welcome to the future of education with AYO, where innovation meets tailored learning. Let's explore how AYO's cutting-edge features are transforming the educational landscape. Meet the Smart Student Profile, the cornerstone of AYO's tailored approach. Dynamically evolving through data interactions, it offers a holistic view of each student's academic and personal growth. With features like goal setting, leadership attributes, and badges, This intelligent profiling eliminates manual data entry and transforms a sea of data into meaningful, actionable insights, all centralized in one intuitive platform. And of course, at the heart of AYO is a deep commitment to student well-being, and that includes their emotional well-being. Our social emotional learning features support emotional check-ins, empowering students with self-regulation tools and providing educators with vital insights into each student's emotional state. AYO integrates emotional support seamlessly, offering timely insights to educators and ensuring students receive the support they need exactly when they need it. This is another crucial way AYO creates a learning environment where every student can flourish. Additionally, AYO revolutionizes student engagement by tailoring suggestions from books to volunteer opportunities, athletics, clubs, and more. AYO transforms interest into passion and simplifies club event planning and communication, giving parents a front row seat to their child's growth. And with AYO's Family Feed, we bridge the gap between home and school, empowering parents with real-time insights, personalized updates, and personalized activity suggestions. AYO fosters stronger family connections this way. And with our integrated chat and smart translation capabilities, we ensure seamless and inclusive communication, enhancing parent engagement in every child's educational journey. Transform the way you plan lessons with AYO. Our Smart Lesson Planner integrates student insights to help you create engaging, impactful lessons efficiently, turning hours of planning into minutes. But this tool isn't just about saving time. It's about enriching every lesson with tailored content that resonates with each student and positively impacts learning experiences. AYO is more than a platform. It's a gateway to the future where education is tailored, connected, and intuitive. Join us in redefining what's possible in education, where every student's journey can be unique as they are, where educators are empowered, and where families are brought closer to the educational experience. Together, let's unlock the full potential of every learner. Welcome to the future of education. Welcome to AYO. So we hope each of you are as excited as we are, right, to welcome you to AYO. That video includes a few glimpses into some of the things that we have and some of what's there in AYO. We'll talk about a little bit more later in this webinar, but of course, we're going to give you all more opportunities to see even more of AYO and to connect even more deeply, including seeing AYO in action and getting your hands on it yourself. But we'll talk more about that towards the end. For now, I want to zoom into a few of those areas. As you can imagine, with us leveraging the power of AI and leveraging the power of insights, there's quite a lot there that we didn't even show in that video. So let's just take a closer look at a few areas more specifically and how we've seen success with those with AYO. So first, I want to talk about our whole child approach. So we want to redefine student understanding with this whole child approach. This starts with the Smart Student Profile that we showed a moment ago, and this is the dynamic core of our platform. This is an comprehensive view of each student. And there's a few things that are very important that's happening here. First and foremost, it's the transformation of this mass sea of data all being consolidated into one place and being turned into actionable insights. Beyond that, there's also what this means for time saving for educators. We look at educators currently spending 5 to 10 hours, or I'm sorry, 15 hours juggling weekly administrative tasks. And most of these are tied to data tasks. And this is because they're jumping between different tools and trying to make sense of this disparate data. But our goal is to streamline this and to make this more of a power for all educators so that the data is all consolidated into one place and more data than what we've ever had for individual students. Also, we know that this happens because educators are juggling between 5 to 10 different tools to get to this data. So not only are we getting new data that's never been seen before and a deeper, more comprehensive understanding of students than the sort of traditional class rankings, we go beyond that and we put this all into one place that's intuitive to use. This, of course, includes several features, like one that you might have saw highlighted on that video around better understanding student interest. And while students can engage with the platform, one thing that we're really proud of is that even before that, we have a good understanding of what students enjoy and what they like and where their aptitudes may be. And we do this by understanding interactions that students have every day anyways, whether it's the music they listen to, web browsing that they may do, or even how they interact in the classroom. AYO can take all of that to better understand the student, consolidate it into a profile for them, and then for anyone else looking at it, give them a beautiful overview from an administrative level of what's happening with each individual student and across all of their campuses or across the district. This profile encompasses so many things. It's pretty difficult to try to show them all here. And like I mentioned, we'll have some opportunities to talk even more about what's all there. But just know you just saw a glimpse of what's within that profile. And since it's holistic, it's constantly growing and evolving and remaining dynamic. Next, I want to talk a little bit about leadership development. So part of that profile is, of course, the understanding of student leadership. And AYO's leadership development goes kind of beyond your typical feature. This is serving truly as a growth catalyst. And we've seen this so far take place for 21,000 emerging leaders, or actually more than that. What this means is that not only do we help students understand areas that they need to grow in and help them kind of cultivate their leadership acumen with certain attributes, but we also encourage them and sort of guide them into creating goals that are relevant for their leadership goals. And beyond that, we also provide for them personalized strategies for their success. And I'll show you a little glimpse of what that looks like in a moment. But with our nuanced analysis, AYO is playing an important role in this, right? Helping the educators to understand where their students are in terms of leadership and helping students to understand where they are in terms of leadership and where their gaps may be. And this is another way that we're not only helping the students, but also augmenting for educators what their experience is. So in the classroom, if they're working with students on goals, AYO can take an important part of helping students shape their goals and shape themselves into greater leaders for the future. This means not only giving this access to students and educators, but also for their parents having visibility into what their children are working on and what sort of goals they've set and what sort of goals they've achieved. What you see here is what I mentioned around sort of that augmentation, right? If I'm sitting down with a student to talk about a leadership goal and something like courage here, I might have trouble thinking of different ideas to give them on how they can show their courage or even grow it. But what AYO can do is suggest things ranging from books, activities, videos, and even more to help those students understand what exactly is courage and how can they better cultivate it. And all of this is happening, AYO is better understanding the student so that not only can it help facilitate this, but also it can identify when students have achieved these certain areas and help them understand that they are growing. Now, we also mentioned social emotional learning in the video a moment ago, and this is one of those areas that is incredibly hard to even quantify how valuable it is. We definitely have ways of quantifying it, but it's one of those areas that kind of goes beyond measurement. I think we all sort of intuitively know and understand the value of emotional well-being of students and everyone around them. But with AYO specifically, we're aiming to transform just quick interactions and a few taps into helping students explore this tailored journey of self-awareness and emotional management. This means that students can quickly and easily share their emotional state and then be guided through custom activities to help them regulate their emotions. And students can do this in our web application as well as our mobile application with just a few taps. Now, while this is happening in parallel, you'll probably notice a theme as the other features I mentioned. Educators are going to be empowered with the real-time insights from this at the same moment. So if I'm an educator looking at the class, I can understand the class is coming into my room right now, what their emotional well-being is, but also I can see streamlined trend analyses. So not only can I see the students right then how they're feeling, I can also understand which students probably need adult intervention, and I can see that at an individual level as well as a class and even district and campus level. And this assures that everyone receives timely support exactly when they need it for each and every student. Now, I said this is kind of hard to quantify, but we try to in some ways to kind of give an idea of how this is positively impacting students. First, we have emotional insights here. We've had over 87,000 moods that have been communicated with AYO. Now, that number already sounds great on its own. When we think about this, this is 87,000 times that the door was open to educators or anyone around the student better understanding and supporting them. This is times that we've helped students identify that they're in need or that they might need to speak with the counselor. Also coming from this, we have 3,500 instances of custom activities that help students show resilience. This means like the activities that you see to the right, where students, after they have a mood, they can then see a custom mood regulation exercise for themselves where they can better regulate their mood on their own. But like I mentioned, all this is also shared in real time with their educators so that they're ready to better support them. And all of the insights from this flow towards them so that even when they do sit down with them to talk with that student, they have all the details they need to help support them better. And then on a daily basis, we're seeing 760 mood check-ins occurring each day. And this means that we're providing consistent and helping students or consistent and compassionate emotional oversight. Pardon. Of course, also we have 24/7 crisis support for the students in need that need elevated support, and that's always available for them as well. This is just a glimpse into some of the activities that we have that students get to enjoy to regulate their emotions. Now, next, I want to talk about Intelligent Lesson Planner, right? This is one of the areas of AYO that we're really excited about. This is how we want to revolutionize lesson planning and ultimately take teacher time that they spend on planning from hours into minutes. We know that educators spend over 300 hours a year just on planning, and we want to turn that into just moments for them. But what's most important here is that this is not only about time saving. While we're doing this, we want to at the same time revolutionize the way that education is structured in terms of personalization. We want to deliver more personalized and more tailored instruction, more insight-driven and impactful lessons while making it easier. Now, this is all about streamlining the experience for teachers as well. So we want to take their weekly time they're spending in planning from 5 to 10 hours to nearly 0. This is, like Dr. Rivera mentioned, kind of what everyone's been talking about for years. Bringing insights into the classroom, having more personalization, making it more relevant. And this is all now possible with the power of what AYO is bringing. Here we can see just a few glimpses of how we make this intuitive and clean and easy for educators. Very easy to use setups. We pull in all of the classes for them automatically, and then we allow them to go through and set up their lessons and even deliver things like agenda and TEKs and reminders to students in an easy way for them as well. Now, I also want to talk a little bit more around the sort of community piece that we mentioned with these last two features I want to highlight. First is Club Hub. So in Club Hub, we're uniting clubs and sports teams to have effortless and easy club creation and club management. Now, we mentioned around how we want to have this improved student understanding and all these insights. And this is just one example of how we are using those insights in an actionable way. Because Club Hub is where students delve into these passions much more granularly. And all along the time while this is happening, their parents are able to view and engage with it along the way. So this is every club, every team, every event, all in one place. So we do have a provided list of all the clubs that are available, but we don't just showcase that. We also, for students, curate a personalized lineup of clubs that will be most relevant and resonate with them based on their profile and based on their uniqueness. And this is a centralization of all the engagement that you could see taking place. So whether it's communication between the club sponsors and the club members, communication amongst parents that are involved with those clubs or those sports teams, this is everyone having one cohesive place to communicate and talk and share. This means no more, trying to figure out whose phone number you need to get in contact about who's bringing a cake for a certain event, or no more trying to figure out exactly who you're talking to in those random group messages. This is consolidated and this is easy to use and it's going to work for everyone. Then, of course, this also comes into events as well. We want to organize events and kind of help take this process from something that could traditionally be hectic into a more harmonious experience. This means that events will be easy facilitated for club members and their parents, as well as for school districts. And what's really exciting about this is something that we refer to as Event Explorer. This means that not only do we help connect club members with events that are taking place, but let's say we have an elementary student who's interested in music or music production, and the high school band is actually putting on a jazz performance or an orchestral performance. Those same events will be promoted and shared with those younger students that can go to it so that they're aware of things that are taking place within the district or within their campuses so that they can better cultivate and explore their own potential. Here we can see just a glimpse into kind of what Club Hub feels like, where club sponsors can make posts and the participants of the club and their parents can also be engaged with those posts as well. And we also see this simple event screen where events can be created, managed, and of course then promoted throughout the district. Now, what kind of brings all of these things together is our family feed. Our goal for Family Feed is to empower every parent with real-time insights into their child's progress and to also give them powerful tools to support their journey at home. Now, what's really exciting about this is this first point here, which is hands-free engagement. So nearly 9,000 personalized updates have been generated by AYO to go out to the families and to bring them more deeply into their child's educational world. Now, what's great about this is we definitely want to have posts within the feed that engage parents, but what this does is it makes sure that teachers are not responsible for creating even more posts. So many things that can happen, AYO can do automatically on behalf of the educators, sharing updates with parents ranging from which goals have been completed by their kids, what did they work on in class that day, or even which new clubs are they interested in. Now, in addition to that, we also have Gen AI activities. And I got to highlight here, we are among very few educational tools that are using Gen AI. And we've already used it effectively to give 27,000 parents personalized suggestions uniquely aligned to their child's interests, uniquely aligned to the insights for their kids. Now, this is very exciting. I'll kind of show you on the next screen what this looks like a bit, but just know that the goal of this is to make deeper engaging connections with parents and their kids, ultimately helping kids to explore their potential and to bring their parents into that loop. Now, at the same time as we're doing all of this, we're also transforming communication. This is bringing everything into one place. This is making sure that the time that teachers typically spend each week, like the 1 to 5 hours in teacher-parent interactions, we can reduce that down by a lot of these personalized hands-free insights that go out. But when teachers and parents do interact, we want to make that meaningful and streamlined. So we unify all the communications into one place, and posts can go out. Communications one-on-one can happen in clean and easy ways for everyone to use, and no confusion on where to look. And when we look at the feed a little bit more closely here, we can see a few different things here. First of all, the suggestions I mentioned. In this case, I'm a parent of Calvin, and I'm taking a look at the feed. And not only can I see updates on what Calvin has going on in his day, like his goals and his activities he's taken participation in class, but I can also see these suggestions for activities for Calvin and I to enjoy together. Now, what's important about this is Calvin, in this case, is pretty interested in a lot of different sports and various things as well. But these are suggestions for activities, and these activities are specific to Calvin and his family. That means the suggestions are going to be localized to where they are, but also relevant based on everything that we understand about Calvin.